This is To the Front. Tools for today's top agents.
Welcome back to episode number 36 of To the Front. Now, whether you are a business owner or you are an agency owner, or heck, you're just like a mom or a dad, I bet you have a question that pops up in your mind, whether it's cognitively there or not. And here's the question that pops up. How do I get my employee, how do I get my kid, heck, how do I get my husband or wife motivated to do that thing that I want them to do? Now, if you're a captive agency owner, what do you want your team to do? You want them to produce. You want them to sell. You want them to take great value in what you do. And you might be sitting there with the perfect bonus and incentive plan where this team member could make thousands and thousands of dollars of commission a month, but it just doesn't move the needle for them. And you're wondering why. You know, one thing that I've found out over, say, almost 20 years of marriage and over 15 years of being a business owner is that what motivates some people doesn't motivate others. What motivates me doesn't motivate my wife. But if you're like me, you probably try to motivate people in the ways that make you feel motivated. And the problem with that is not everybody's like you. Not everybody thinks like you. No, not everybody's motivated like you. And so if you're like me, you're sitting there scratching your head like, why does more money not excite my team? You know, or in the perspective of my marriage, like I'm heaping praise on my wife. Why does that not make her excited? Well, because my wife's not motivated by praise. She's motivating me by doing the doggone dishes. Or, hey, my team is not motivated by me giving them more money. What they really want is they want me to recognize them in front of everybody. So today's episode, I'm super excited about it. It's called When Team Members Travel, a New Motivation. Now, this is built for captive agents, but I want you to know if you own another business or something, don't check out, don't close the podcast, because you need to listen to this as well, because it doesn't matter whether you own a restaurant or you just manage your family. The idea of trying to figure out what motivates your team to do what you need them to do is a topic for you. And to help me talk about today, I want to bring on my friend, Jenny Thibodeaux. Jenny, welcome to the Front. How you doing today?
I am doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Good, Jenny, man. I am excited to have you on the podcast. And hey, here's the reason why I wanted to bring on Jenny. Jenny is the owner of Align Incentive Travel. Her and her team help captive agents organize and plan trips to incentivize their team members. They do all the heavy lifting. They're this amazing new tool. Listen, that I just found out about last week, and I was like, I talked to my assistant Jade and Jenny. I was like, I got to have Jenny on the podcast, because this podcast is all about tools for tomorrow's top agents. So I was like, I don't know of any other organization helping agents plan travel trips for their team. So I was like, I got to have Jenny on. So if you're listening, Jenny is the owner of that. But here's the deal. Here's what makes her so special and her company so special is that her and her husband run a captive agency as well. So they are currently sitting in your seat. They are currently looking down the barrel of team members and asking the question, how do I motivate them? And that's why she is sufficient to come on the podcast. So, Jenny, welcome. How was the intro? Was it okay?
Yeah, it was good. Thanks.
Awesome.
I think you talked me up really well there.
That's the goal. That's the goal. But well, hey, let's get into it. But hey, before we jump into everything, hey, tell us a little bit more about you, a little bit more about Align, maybe about your family, all that good stuff.
So my name is Jenny Thibodeaux. I am the owner of Align Incentive Travel. I have been a travel advisor for almost 13 years. I started this before we had kids with the intention of this was going to be my full-time job. I was going to get into it. And life had other plans for me, man.
Sure.
So we had kids. We moved to Dallas to open up our agency here, for my husband to open up his agency. I went to work somewhere else, still doing travel on the side. And then in 2019, I was pregnant with our second, and I started working for my husband because he had he had just lost his service person. So he's like, I need someone to come do service, come do service. So I was like,
And
great, I'll come work for you.
It fell to you by default.
Oh yeah, fell to me
Yeah,
by
of course.
default. And it worked out because I was pregnant. I needed to bring my son somewhere. So it was great because I got to bring him to work with me for the first full year of his life. That was also the year that my travel business was starting to take off, 2019. I've been doing everything part-time. I had started out doing just theme park travel for families, and my families were growing and wanting to go other destinations. So I was starting to expand, and then 2020 hit. And
the famous 2020.
Yep. So my travel business stopped. I did a lot of cancellations. I also dove headfirst into training to learn about tons of new destinations so I could come back better than ever. Same time, his office went down to being just me and him. So we built from 2020, built it back up from 2 people, him and myself, to the office that it is now. And part of that was I started shifting my business from doing just family travel to incentivizing our team with travel. So we decided that was something we'd always wanted to do. We wanted to you travel, they travel is what we always said. You know, we travel, they travel.
That's cool.
We want to give them on a trip as well. I've always loved to travel. Josh does what I tell him. So he travels with me.
That is raw honesty right there.
It is.
True story. I walk out of our other apartment here and I come to this one and my wife said, "Hey, don't forget I'm your boss." And so I think wives have a secret club where that you all align, no pun intended, your phrases to your husbands.
Yeah. But yeah, that was always our goal. So we started using travel to incentivize our team at that point and started doing it really small with just his team. It was a great motivator for them. We hadn't traveled since his first year in business. And so the first year that we traveled, we're like, yay, we traveled, you get to travel. So we actually sent our whole team, closed the office down. I stayed behind and worked, and everybody else went and went on a cruise. We sent everybody on a cruise. And the one big thing was how much it helped with retention, that every single person who went on that cruise with us back in 2022 is still with our office to this day.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That is one of the marks that I see. And again, I talk to agents every day, all day, Jenny. And I will tell you, one of the marks of successful agents, growing agents, are long tenured team members.
Oh yeah.
That is one of the marks. And so if you're sitting there listening to this and again, some turnover is just normal. It just happens. But if you're not keeping and retaining team members, my guess is that it's affecting the growth of your agency. It has to.
Yeah. And the thing with it is that giving them something to look forward to other than a cash incentive, it kind of ignites something different in them. Like it makes them want to try harder because it's something they've never done before. That's right.
No, they don't even have the ability to really do that. So, well, okay, that's interesting that you bring that up. So let me frame this. Again, the topic today is when a team member travels, a new motivation. You said something really cool. You said, when we travel, you travel, because I've always thought, I wonder what the team members are sitting around thinking when you're jetting off on Chairman Circle or Exotic, or, you're in Rome or wherever you're at. And I wonder what they're thinking when they're having their Friday You Met Your Goal pizza party. I always have to wonder what that team member's thinking. And so, and again, I have met team members who are making really good money. They're hitting their commissions and bonuses, but they're still not super happy. And the morale in the office still might be a little low. And I've met team members who, have this amazing bonus and compensation plan, but they just don't really care about it. So I guess my question for you is, why do you think that some team members are incentivized by money, and why do you think some are just not? As I think about it, again, I think about it from my perspective, my view of the world. I'm like, man, if I can just make more money, I can do lots of things. But some people are not motivated by that. Why is that, do you think?
I mean, there's a lot of times where we still incentivize with cash bonuses and things like that for our team. Um, but from our perspective, they're going to take that money and they're going to go pay a bill. They're going to go
Yeah.
do something that's practical, which are great things that need to be done. You have bills that need to be paid. You know, you need to get new tires on your car, things like that. But by giving them something that gives them an intangible reward, such as like the memories or the camaraderie from traveling with their teammates. You know, they might get to know somebody on this trip that they didn't really know very well before and come back with a new best friend. Um,
Right.
it kind of gives, it's a different perspective almost. They can, um, again, they're not using the money that you're giving them to go do something practical that they're not going to spend the money on themselves. They're not going to go and book a trip
Sure.
on their own and go take their family somewhere. That was our biggest thing, was that while we wanted their needs to be taken care of, when we hope that we are doing that with how we are paying our team, we
Yeah,
wanted to
sure.
give them something extra that they can look
Yeah.
forward to and something that they get excited for. And that was one thing with our team. Was the very first year we did a cruise, and when we came around to planning for 2025's goal, that was the first thing they said, "Oh my God, we want to do a cruise again. We
No
would love to
way.
do a cruise again." Yeah, they loved it. They absolutely loved sitting on a boat and drinking their mojitos with their little umbrellas in it and just
Yeah.
hanging
And
out and being able to relax.
so you're saying that they didn't press you off necessarily for more money at that moment. They
No,
just wanted to say, when you start talking about goals for the new year, they want to say, let's do a cruise if we can hit our goal.
that was literally the first thing they said. "Can
Wow.
we do a cruise again?" And we're like,
They started
"Absolutely, we
asking for
can."
this.
Mhm. They
How
started
fulfilling
asking
was
for
that
it.
for you? Yeah. How exciting was that for you as
It's
what this is what your company does?
Yeah, it's I have always had a travel bug. I love to travel any chance that I get. So seeing somebody else wanting to travel, no matter how big or small it is, we actually have one of the girls in our office who she has like completely like turned the corner. Like every weekend she's like, "Oh, I'm going to go here this weekend." Like she went to Houston this past weekend to go see a concert. She's planning to go to, I think she said she's planning to go to Spain to go see another concert. She wants to travel to go see all these other things. And now that I know that that's a big motivator for her, whether I do a big team incentive and book something for our whole team, or we focus on individual goals and say, "Hey, if you hit your goal, we'll get you over to Spain so you can go see that concert." We know what motivates her. And she's like, "Bet, I'm going to go do that now." She's going to want to hit her goal so
Wow.
she can go do the things that she wants to do.
You know what? Something you just said, I've never thought about. I wonder how many agencies think about compensation and motivation on individual levels. What I see mainly is agencies cast a big blanket and they're saying, okay, this is our plan, get motivated by it or not.
Mhm.
But maybe that's not the best way to do it. I mean, maybe there has to be some of that, some standardization. But what if, like, in your agency, you adopted what you just said, Jenny, by saying, hey, get to know your team,
Mhm.
figure out what they get excited about, and then figure out how to make an incentive based on what they care about.
Yeah.
What is it they, and so you said that one team member, you're like, hey, if you hit your goals, we'll figure out how to get you to Spain.
Yeah.
And this is just for you. Uh, I'll be honest with you. I think I can count on one hand how many agents I've talked to who think about incentivizing their team like that, and more should. More really should.
And the good thing about travel is that it can be blanket. We can send your entire
Mhm.
team if you want to. We view our office as it is a whole team effort to get us to the goals that we need. It is service,
Yeah.
it is sales, it is everybody. So we want to send everybody. There are other agents that say, "Hey, I want to send the ones who hit their goals that I set up for them." So instead of sending everybody, I plan individualized trips for their team members. I have one agent that wants to send his office manager to Iceland. I did one where the team member wanted to go to Vegas. So we sent them to Vegas. And the good thing about hiring a professional to take care of that for you is that you don't have to think about it.
That's right.
You say, "Hey, this is Cody and he won a trip. This is his budget. have at it. And then I work with Cody for the rest of the time. I deal with him. I make sure that he is taken care of from start to finish. And then he comes back rested and excited and so pumped
Huge.
from what he got to just do that he comes back and tells all of his teammates, hey, I went to Vegas this weekend and I had hit a hot streak on the blackjack table or whatever
right.
it is that he
That's
did.
right.
And then it kind of pushes the rest of the team. Oh, well, if Cody got to go do that, what do I need to do to get to go do something that I want to do? And
Yeah.
it kind of almost gives a friendly competition to it, but you're not necessarily in competition with your team. You're in competition with yourself trying to get to that goal.
Yeah. And I see a lot of benefit in individualized, and in team goals, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could even, if you're listening, you're talking about trying to figure out how to motivate your team with something other than money. I actually have a podcast that talks about this a few months ago, but it doesn't have to be super expensive to be thoughtful. So
No.
you can be thinking, what is it? Is there just a little something that you could do? Maybe you're not sitting on thousands and thousands of dollars, but the idea is still the same, is to think about compensation and incentivizing differently than just a paycheck. And
Mm-hmm.
Jenny, it seems like your office both from a captive agency and from your company that actually helps those captive agencies plan and
Yeah.
do it for them. You guys have figured this out, is to say, man, if we want did you say that same team from 2022 or 2020 is still in your office?
Yes. Every single one of them that was on that cruise is still in our office.
That's insane.
Now
That's
we've
insane
added
because,
new people. So all these new
of
people are
course,
excited about what we're going to get to do this
yeah,
year. So
I've seen. And again, I don't know what your agency numbers are, but I would have to assume that your agency numbers are up from
they
2022
are.
because it kind of becomes contagious. So, okay, now I want to ask you about this because I've got some agents listening who are like, all right, this all sounds really good, but how do I even begin to do this in my agency? What kind of numbers do I need to set? So walk us through, Jenny, how you guys implemented it in you and your husband's agency, right? Right. So how did you even start to say, okay, what's going to qualify them
Mm-hmm.
for this travel, this incentive? So how did you guys come up with those numbers? How did you figure out those metrics? And then maybe even talk about how maybe even a line might help out. Because I'm sure you have agents call that say, hey, I'm interested in your services, but I'm not quite sure
Mm-hmm.
how to set the metrics. So walk us
Yeah.
through how you guys either personally did it or how you help agents figure out what does the number need to be.
So I feel like with our agency, like the bar is always moving and changing and adjusting. So our goals are always changing. So sometimes our goals need to adjust year over year. When we first started with this, our goal, we hadn't traveled in several years, and we said we're going to travel. When we hit
Yeah.
travel, we will send the team. And so we did. We hit travel that year, and we sent the team on vacation. And it wasn't an overly expensive vacation. It was a cruise, but even sending, I think we had 7 staterooms that we ended up using. It was very reasonably priced. Like if I could put a price I want to say it was under $5,000 to send our entire team.
Wow.
So super reasonably priced, but they got everything that they wanted. So that was kind of where we started. Now, once we hit that goal, we said, okay, we did this. We need to push the bar a little bit more, and we need to set our goal so that we can grow to be a little bit further ahead. So that's kind of how we adjusted ours. Our goal this year is Chairman Circle. If we hit that, then they get to go on a bigger and better cruise than what they did the last time.
Yeah,
But
sure.
even with setting up with new agents that want to call and set up these meetings with me, that's how I start, is that we sit down, we have a conversation. What does your
Mhm.
team look like? Where are you at in your growth process? And honestly, what is your budget for wanting to incentivize them? Do we need to do a smaller trip with a smaller budget? Or do you have, sky's the limit and you're hitting exotic travel every year and you got all the money in the world that you can spend and send your team somewhere? It doesn't have to be expensive for them to be able to enjoy it. So whether it's renting
Yeah.
a cabin in Broken Bow for the weekend, which you can do and send your whole team there and they can go and
Yeah.
chill out in a cabin. It's sitting down and having that individualized conversation with the agent. because you kind of got to get to know them to understand where they are with their team.
That's right. So you guys, one, I think you're qualified to do it because you work in agency. So you
Yes.
understand when they start throwing out words like exotic travel, chairman
Mhm.
circle, scorecard, right? All these
Yeah.
different buzzwords. If you're from that specific company, you know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And so you're not just like, okay, tell me your budget and where you want to go, and I'll
Mhm.
help you organize the details. You're actually almost consulting with them to help
Almost
them
to an extent.
almost,
Yeah.
yeah. To sort of say, okay, well, tell us about where you're at, where you want to grow to, what is that sort of budget that you could see, and then are you guys actually coming up with options like, hey, we could do this, or
Mhm.
this for that
Yeah.
budget?
So it depends on the agency. I have different agents want different things. Some of them say this is specifically what they want. Some of them just want to know, hey, this is my budget. What can I get for this? And using my network of travel partners, I can come up with a presentation for your team to present to them and say, hey, for 2026, this is going to be our goal. And I can even have it set up to where it's option 1, 2, or 3, depending on which level you achieve, level 1, 2, or 3 of travel. So that way they can have a variety to choose from,
Mhm.
or the agent can narrow it down and say, hey, this is the one thing that we're going to shoot for, and we're all going to do it together.
Yeah, for sure. So does it typically work where you're going to have 2025, so to speak, to produce, and then you're going to, if you hit the mark, we're going to send you on the trip in March or April? Is that kind of how it works?
It varies for each agency. Within ours, it was you have your 2025 goal, and then we send everybody in April for our. So if we hit our goals for 2025 in April, they're going to get to go on their trip. I have other agents that are shooting for smaller goals. So they say, hey, if we hit fast start, if we hit level
Oh
4,
yeah.
level 1, I don't know what the levels are, but the top level for
Yeah.
fast start.
Yeah.
I always get confused.
I'm not an agent. I just hear it all day.
Yeah.
So yeah.
If you hit that, then I'm going to reward y'all and we're going to send you on a weekend getaway. I can cater what you offer based off of the goal. So whether it's a big goal or a small goal, some agents are coming in at the end of this year and saying, hey, I never thought of this before, but hey, we're meeting our goal and I want to send them somewhere. I'm like, great, let's go ahead and get it. So they're getting options and sending to present to their team and say, hey, y'all did great. This is your reward. So they didn't even know that they were working towards something. They just want to reward their team with something that they can take
Fantastic.
advantage of. And the good thing about being an agency is knowing the ins and outs of when things happen. I know nobody's going to want to travel Q1 because of
Right.
the promotions
That's
going
right.
on. So I try to have groups, or like I have certain groups set up right now for after Q1 to say, hey, you want to send your team? I have some great options that are already pre-packaged and pre-put together. We can just plug you in and get you going. And it's after Q1 when you have your big promotion that you got to kick off your year with.
And it's after March. And
Yeah.
March is
Oh yeah,
when some
March
agencies get a little bit of a
March
cash
15th.
infusion.
Oh yeah,
It's
that's
every
a big
agent's
one.
favorite day. You know it, for at least for one specific company. So I would have to assume that maybe there's some agents who have thought about doing something like this, but they just don't have the time to plan it and to organize it. Are you finding that when
Yeah.
you're working with agents, they're like, I would have done this earlier, but I just don't have time to plan, organize, book, and you do all that for them, right?
Yeah, most agents who are active in their agency, and there's a lot of agents these days who are not only active in their agency, but they're dabbling in other ventures as well.
Hence front
So,
runner. That's right.
so I'm here to take that stress and that anxiety off of you, and you hire me to come in and do that for you. I come in,
Yeah.
I take care of those details. Like I said earlier, like you don't have time to do the research, to do the booking, to make sure you hit all of your final payment dates and different milestones along the way when it comes to travel. If you're sending out of the country, making sure you have visas set up. You don't have time to think about these things. That's my job. I do this full time, and I
Wow.
think about these things on a daily basis. So it's always running through my head of what needs to be done and when, and I make sure those things are all taken care of. So it's seamless, not only for you, but for your team members as well. They don't really have to think about it either. All they have to do is pack their bags and show up. And if you
Huge.
want to go, you can
Huge.
always go with them and pack your bags and show up with them.
Pack your bags and go with them. That's right. Some people might think, oh, Adam, hey, Jenny is paying to be on your podcast. And the answer is no, actually.
No.
No. I mean, we are here to expose agencies to great tools. And this is not a extra. I believe this is actually a tool to help make your agency better. And so a lot of people see, I think, being able to send their team on a trip or something special as just a cost of doing business. I actually, tell me if you think this is, tell me if you would agree with this. I actually don't think what you offer is a cost of doing business. I actually think it's an investment.
Oh,
It's
yes,
an investment
100%.
in your team. If you look at it as a cost of doing business or as an expense, I think you're looking at it improperly. I think a tool like this it is a tool because of the byproduct of what happens when you take your team. For instance, I will tell you, Jenny, when we get together once a year as a front runner team, right? Because if you, by the way, if you're listening, if you're one of, of our 10,000 agents and team members, front runner doesn't have a physical office. So cat's out of the bag. But we don't have a physical office, and we haven't since COVID. In fact, most of the tracking platforms don't have physical offices, right? We all work remotely. I mean, we have a place we get our mail, but that's about that. But the reality is that once a year, we pull all of our team together, and we don't go fancy. I mean, we're like in Nashville or something. But our team loves it. And we get together for 2 or 3 days, and we eat way more than we should eat, and some drink maybe way more than they should drink. But I will tell you that when we get back, the team is just better. It's simply just better. And so I'm sure that you see that every single day, that this is an investment. Is an investment in your team culture, in the morale, in the DNA office. This is not an expense. So I would tell me if this is, go ahead. Sorry, Jenny. Yeah.
I was going to say, that's one of the things that we look at with our team is what is our ROI? What is our return on investment in them? And so not only are we investing in them in what we pay them, but how we incentivize them. Because if we are investing in them the right way and we're taking care of our team, then they're going to take care of us in the long run. And that's the ultimate goal, that it might not show up monthly, but it'll show up on March 15th, which is the big goal.
That's right. That's right. So, okay, I'm an agent. I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, this sounds really, really good. Jenny, how do I get started with you? How do I say this? How do I get in touch with you? How do I start conversation? Is there an extra fee to pay you on top of when I'm paying for the trip? How do I get started? What do I pay you? All that good stuff.
Yeah. So I base my services and the service packages off of the size of your team. So not necessarily the number of people you're sending to travel. If you're sending a team member plus one, it's still based off the number of your team members. So, because obviously a lot more work goes into planning a team trip for 9, 10, 11 team members, or even agents who have MOAs, than it does having, team members that, hey, I'm only sending 1 or 2. We have a really small office and I really want to do this for them. That's what I hear a lot, is they feel like they can't do it because they have such a small office. But you can. I come in, you hire me, I base my service packages again off of what your expectations are and what you're needing, and the size of your team. And so I send that out for them to review, and they hire me from there, and we go from there. To get in contact with me, I do have my website, which is alignincentivetravel.com. And then, but I'm on socials as not my incentive travel business, but my the other side of my travel business, which is family friendly, which is just Magic Maker Jenny on Instagram.
So they could hire you for your agency and hire you for their family. They could say, Jenny, I'm going to bring you and your team on. You're going to plan a trip for my agency, and you're going to plan my trip to Disney. Or wherever, and I know in the travel world, sometimes there's like Disney specific planners or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But so I don't know if you do any of that.
That's actually one of the benefits that I offer to my agents.
Mhm.
I have a lot of clients that keep me on retainer year round to plan all of their trips for the year because I have people who travel
Yeah.
year over year. Um, and so when you sign up with Align to send your team, you actually get my services for you and your family for a year. So whether you need extra nights before ambassador travel, or you are planning to go to Disney, or you need a rental car for the weekend, or you're going to a conference and you need to get hotel and rental car set up, you call me up and I take care of it for you. So that's an extra service that I do provide to my agents that work with me, is just that extra level of care for things that they don't have to think about or worry about.
Which is huge because it's going to save you time, right? If we
Oh
save you time, we're making you money. But then I will tell you this: my buddy Jason, he's one of the owners of Front Runner as well. I know
yes.
you and Jason spent some time together. He used a travel agent. He
Hmm.
started to use a travel agent to book his travel for Front Runner, and I'm like, man, that's going to cost more money than you just going on Expedia or whatever. And we found out it actually doesn't cost. It's actually doesn't cost any more money because most often those travel agents have deals and they have partnerships and they have relationships that
Hmm.
sometimes it's been cheaper, but most often it's been maybe a little more expensive, but we get so much more bang for the
You
buck.
do.
Yeah, and we save the time, right? So, uh, just Jason talking to me about it makes me a believer in saying, "Hey, why am I booking my own travel? Why don't I go with a professional who does this every day? They have all these relationships, and they know how to make travel fun and
Hmm.
in ease, right? For me, travel is just anxiety driven because, um, in fact, was just sharing Jenny with you, Jenny, before we started the podcast that I just moved my whole family to Italy,
Yeah.
for my son's soccer, and I didn't use a travel agent. I've done this all myself, visa stuff, everything, and I'm convinced it's why I have gray hair. It was the most stressful thing on planet. My blood pressure, seriously, 140 over whatever, totally. And going back, I wish I had just hired somebody to do it, right? Because I probably lost years of my life. So I'm a big believer in partnering with a professional organization like Align, to
Hmm.
help maybe travel for your family, but really to help incentivize your team and do it. So I'm
Yes.
sure you've got clients that would give the same testimony, right?
Yes, I do. Like, especially when you have things that pop up when you travel that you aren't expecting.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Expedia is not gonna be there to take care of it for you. They're gonna
No,
say,
they're gonna make it worse,
"Please
actually.
hold." Yeah, they're gonna make it worse. One great example I can think of that was, it was not an incentive trip, but it was for a client that was actually traveling to Italy. There was an issue with fraudulent charges on their credit card
Oh
on
wow.
their flight over. So I got a notification while they were mid-flight that all of their tours got canceled. So
Oh
there's a
no.
time difference. So I'm sitting at my
Yeah.
computer at like 10 o'clock at night on the phone, dealing with the canceled tours, trying to get them rebooked, trying to get everything relined up so I can get their itinerary straight again. And when they land, they called me and they said, "Oh my God, all my tours are canceled." And I said, "No, they're not. They're all back. Don't worry about it." And before he even landed,
Wow.
we had it taken care of. We had everything
Unbelievable.
set back up for him and he didn't have to worry about it. He's like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah, just ignore the original confirmations. You're going to get some new ones from me."
Unbel that's something that you can't do on your own, and
No.
if they try to book it on their own, now they're in Italy with probably no flights, no car, no place to stay, or even
Hmm.
and now you're having to figure it out from scratch, right? That's why you
Yeah.
use a company like Align Incentive Travel, or your other travel company to help you do this because you were in the air thinking about
Hmm.
your Italian vacation. Jenny and her team were busy making sure that any little problem that arises, they fixed it,
Yep.
before you even got there, and that's worth every dollar. Again, if you're listening to this podcast, I've got it on the screen if you're watching on YouTube, but if you're listening, that is Align, ALIGN, incentive travel.com. That's where you can connect with Jenny. They will also be in our Front Runner new newsletter that's coming out, so you can find them on there as well. But the topic of the day really is when team members travel, and I don't want you to miss that if you want an agency that grows, think about what inspires them. And I want you to know that it may not just be money. there
Mhm.
may be something else that you can offer. And I think travel is a really good option. Hey, Jenny, I know your time is valuable. Thanks so much for coming and hanging out
Thank
and talking to me.
you.
Any final words for our folks listening about incentivizing team, how they can get in touch with you, all of that good stuff?
I mean, honestly, I think I've said a lot of it already.
It's perfect.
Always
Yeah,
looking for those alternative options other than just putting cash in their hands. I mean, you can still do that. They'll still take it, but
for
looking
sure.
for alternative options that can build that that morale and incentive travel and can actually increase your retention as well. So it's a long-term investment sometimes on your team, but if you have a good team, they're 100% worth it. And that is what we're trying
Right.
to do, is trying to make sure that you keep those team members with you for the long run. And this is one of those ways that you can do that.
Absolutely. Jenny, home run. Man, thank you so much for coming on the
Thank
podcast.
you.
Again, Align Incentive Travel. If you're listening, go to it, come back, check out the show To the Front. You can go search on YouTube, Spotify, really it's anywhere where you get your podcast. Re-listen to this podcast because I think it can make a difference in your agency. Jenny, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that is going to be it for episode number 36 of To the Front. Boy, did you hear that? Align Incentive Travel can help you. This is the tool that we found. And by the way, again, uh, we don't offer any paid guests. There are no paid guests. We invite everybody. We find them out, right? So you can't pay to be on our show. We find great tools. So the things that we present are not paid spots. Things that we present are things that we believe in. And we vet these things. We make sure that these are things that could bring value to your agency, and Align Incentive Travel is one of those things. You need to check it out. If you're having a hard time motivating your team, what would happen if when you travel, just like what Jenny said, when you travel, they travel? I bet you that would build morale. I bet you that would make an incredible difference in your agency. Okay, so that's going to be it for this episode of To the Front. Can't wait till next week as we give you, and I'm going to be bringing on FrontRunner subscriber support lead, and we're going to give you 5 secret hacks to FrontRunner that will get you to make the most of our platform. It's going to excite and motivate your team. You don't want to miss the episode about 5 secret hacks about FrontRunner that you would never know unless we told you. Until then, take care. Go lead your agency with courage. Go lead your agency for something that will last even longer than your very life. Take care, and we'll see you next time.